Hey everyone, welcome back to Bucky's Customs. Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how I use scrap lumber that I just had laying around here at the shop to create this wall plaque with a cross, and also use our long mill from Sienci Labs to create this engraving. So stay tuned. Okay, we're going to make a rough cut kind of sign. I'm going to engrave it. It's going to have a Bible verse, John 3:16 on it. And I'm going to arrange the boards so that it leaves an opening of a cross. So what I need to do is I need 5 boards total. I'm going to cut one board in 2 1.5-inch strips, and the other boards I'm making 3 inches. So that way, you'll see what I'm saying, but that's what I'm going to do right now. So we're going to take care of the 1.5-inch ones first. Before we get started with the project, I just have to say thank you to this week's sponsor, Sienci Labs, the makers of the long mill benchtop CNC, just like the one we use here in the shop every week. I love my mill. You will too. Go to their website, cnc.com, and order yours today. Now let's get back to our video. The whole thing is 40. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? Okay, so what I humorously did there was I just used a block of wood to put a stop up so I could cut these boards in half. It was kind of the perfect point where they would be cut in half. And then I brought them over to the long mill, and I'm using the long mill as a bench to build this. What a better place. It's a good sturdy bench, and it's going to end up there anyways. So we cut the pieces, or I cut the pieces, went back and forth to the chop saw, got them right, and we're at the point now where I think, you know, we like what we got. I'm going to glue all this together, and then we'll carve John 3:16 in this, and see how it goes. I kind of like it. Yes, I'm doing a glue up on my long mill, but as you notice, I do have a cutting pad there, so the glue won't stick to the long mill, and our little clamping bar works out really well in this case. So there you go. I stole this idea from Pinterest. I didn't actually steal it. It was on my Pinterest page. Somebody shared it with me, and I thought it was a great idea. We'll let it dry. We'll bring you back when we're sanding and getting it ready to go. Now we're prepping the back bracing, and I'll explain what that's all for in just a minute. Okay, these are the back brace brackets, back of this thing brackets, because of course I glued it all together and it got a little bow. And I thought, you know, it would be kind of nice if I could just light this up somehow, but I have to create some sort of a shadow box. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill this in so it stands off the wall when you hang it up, and gives us room in here for like a little shadow box. So we use this little light, string light here, battery operated, and should be good to go. Now I simply just squared it off, made sure they were you know, perpendicular to the bottom of the board and the top of the board, and screwed them in with a coarse thread screw and put a little glue on the back. Now lay this nice and flat. Perfect.
So what I did here was I just cut a little block of wood, put a notch in it so that we can hang it off a screw or something like that on the wall. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I created the file that we carved in our wooden cross plaque. And I'm going to show you using a program called Easel PRO. It's a web-based program. I have a shortcut here. I'm going to open it up. Once you open a browser, you have to create an account. So whether you use the free version or the paid pro version, either way, you still need to create an account in order to access the program. And again, as I said, it's web-based, so you need the internet in order to access it. Once you get in, you can then start to create what it is you want to carve. So I've created an account. I'm going to open that up. Of course, it's Bucky's Customs. And we're going to open this file. Now we're going to go to New Project. This is how fast this happens. The first thing you need to do is select your project size. Now the width of mine is 10 inches. The length of it is 12 inches. And the thickness is going to be 3/4 of an inch. Now, if you're new to CNC, to the machines, get yourself a decimal equivalent chart so you know your decimals. Because whether you use inches or use metric, you're still going to have to know your decimal equivalents to put your coordinates in. So that's all you need to do there. Sorry about that. You need to change your material. You see it gives you a bunch of different materials here. I'm using pine. Go over to bit. I'm going to V-bit. The free version does not allow you to Vcarve. See, it says pro version only. You have to use a pro day unless you buy it. You know, I don't know much about that, unfortunately, and I apologize for that, because I just said I don't want to deal with waiting for a day. I want to buy it and just allow me to Vcarve all the time, and I'm glad I did. For the money, it really was, I don't know, 15 bucks or something like that, but fairly inexpensive and well worth it. So we've changed that. Now Easel PRO, Easel and Easel PRO have cut settings. They have an automatic version and a manual version. The automatic version I would recommend, highly recommend, as a new CNC user, long mill user, I would highly recommend you stick with your automatic settings until you get familiar with your machine. This automatically sets your feed rate based on your tool and based on your material. So it gives you a safe. These are probably very, conservative, but no, they aren't probably. They are very conservative, but it's a good place to start. It'll give you a chance to listen to your machine, watch your machine, watch its movements, that kind of stuff, and learn from it. So basically, I used automatic when I first started, and I did in this case used automatic. The settings are fairly quick. The carve wasn't that big, so it went pretty quick. So there you go. That's it. Now, I did not create this in Easel PRO. I let somebody else create it, and I found it on the internet for free. I went to lovesvg.com. There's a link to that in the description below, as well as the file for Easel PRO, so that you can download that and carve this identical thing, make changes, do whatever to it, but there'll be a link to that below. Anyway, I went to lovesvg and I downloaded an SVG file. and I imported it into this program. And how you do that, real quick, you click on the import button, this little arrow. I knew it was an SVG, so I clicked on SVG. I have a bunch of SVG Bible signs that I made as gifts, Christmas gifts, that kind of thing. I'm going to go to John 3:16 and I'm going to open it. It loads it in, it puts it to 00 point, and you'll notice that each one of the vectors are selected. They're individualized. So you could select that one, you could select that one. You can select them all, and then you can size it by hand, manually, or you can come over here to shape and you can change your size based on whatever you want within your workpiece. Now, I'm just, for the sake of doing this, I'm going to make it that big right there. It looks pretty good. My workpiece is bigger, as you saw in the beginning. So I really don't have an issue there with being too big for the workpiece. But there's a cool feature. Just like in Carve Co, you can center the material. You can do the same thing in this. You go to Edit, hit Center the Material. Now you're done, basically. Your creation is already there. All you need now is to create your depth of cut. Now in this case here, I used 1/8 of an inch. I want to try to make this as quick as I can and as painless as I can. So I'm going to tell you like it is. V-carving is all about the width of your text, and not just text, the width of your vectors. Because V-carving will carve to the center of your vectors. Each one of these lines is a vector. The distance between where my cursor is now, this one and this one, that V-bit's going to go right in the center, and it's going to go as deep as you tell it to go until it reaches both of these vectors. Now, if I bring this down to where it was, and we generate a preview over here, you will see that if I zoom in on this, there is a single line in the center of all these vectors. And that's what it does. It goes down and makes a point. And it will go down as far as it needs to go until it reaches the width. It knows this bit, the 60-degree bit that we're selecting, is a 1/2 inch. So that's the dimension here. That's what that's going to create. So whatever it has to go in, it's going to go in 5/8 of an inch to get to that. Now, what I did was I moved it to 1/8 of an inch, and it changes how deep it carves and also what it looks like in the carve. Now if you notice, some of the wider text has a flat bottom, and that's because the bit did not go deep enough to create that point. And it's the same way in some of the others. Now in the narrower ones, you can see that it creates that line right here, or the V-carve, because it's narrower. The wider ones, it creates the flat bottom. Now that, obviously, that's going to take a longer time to do, because it's going to have to come back and forth, and create that. So it's going to be a little bit longer, but I'm painting it, so I like the way that looked, and that is what I've selected. You, on the other hand, could select something different, whatever it is that you like. That's the beauty of all of this. Our creative ability can be pushed out, and we can do whatever we want. It's kind of cool, isn't it? So enough of that. Let's end this right now. We're gonna go to I'm all done creating. Basically, I've got everything set up, my depth. Now we're going to go to machine, and I'm going to go down here to advanced, and I'm going to generate my G code. And what that does is it simulates your toolpaths, and you'll see that over here in this 3D preview or 2D preview. And there you go. You can see all the toolpath lines. The red is the toolpath lines, and this is where it starts in the 0. Lower left, I failed to show you that, but now we can export this G code. I'm going to just send it to my desktop, and that is it. We're done. For example, now I want to show you really quick. Come over here to shape, and this is your starting position. I use the lower left right here. You can also set your coordinates. So if you want to start from the center of your carve, you set your coordinates. Okay? And that is it, folks. I hope this was helpful for you. Let's get carving.
Okay, so I got it mounted in CNC. Walt's ready to start eating. I just got to start the program and bring Walter down here a little bit closer so I can change the bit. I'm going to use a 60-degree V-bit, and I've got the program all set. You guys have seen me do that before. I got it ready to carve, and it's all tied in. All clamped down, ready to go. So I'm going to bring Walt down into the front and put a bit in.
Okay, what I did here is I brought the router down to me, put the V-bit in, and installed the dust boot, and basically just zeroed it by hand. As you can see here, I used Easel PRO for the program, which I will put a link in the description below so that you can go get a copy of that file. And this thing really didn't take that long to carve. Really quick, and I think it came out awesome.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray it with some metallic finish.
So once again, you're welcome. I spared you all the sanding.
Okay, I've got the front and the back polyed. I've got like 2 coats of satin on the front. I think it came out pretty good. As you can see, I didn't burn it a lot. I just kind of touched it here and there. The back is done, and you can probably notice in the camera that it's shinier in the back, and I did that for a reason. Hopefully it'll reflect the light that I'm going to put behind this cross. So how I'm going to do that is with a glue gun and some glue sticks. So what I'm going to do is I picked up this string of lights, and it's battery operated. So I'm just going to mount that like somewhere on the bottom here in the middle, and then I'm going to run these lights around this cross, and I'm going to use the glue gun to hold them in place. Well, that about does it, folks. A beautiful wall hanging that I made here for a friend of mine, and I put a little surprise in it for him. I don't know if you can see it, but I backlit the cross, and at night it really shines up pretty good. It's better on the wall than it is right there. I've got a piece of paper behind it just to illuminate it, but I'm pretty sure you could see a little bit of it there. I love this piece, and you know, it was real easy to create this in Easel PRO.
Just a matter of importing the file. And if you go to Love SVG, you can get a bunch of free STLs, SVGs, and I think some DXF files as well, so that you could bring into your program whatever it is that you're using, whether it's Easel, Easel Pro. Easel's the free one. Easel Pro is a subscription. I use Carveco a lot. Many of you have seen videos that I've done before with Carveco. Great program. I just think the Longmill puts the icing on the cake, so to speak, for all these programs that we create things in, because this machine does a fantastic job. So go to cnc.com and check out this great machine. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you can get notified when I post another video. We really appreciate you watching. Thank you, everyone, and be safe out there.